everyone, I'm Stephanie Kolodziej, and I'm here at Itron Inspire in San Antonio. I'm here with Carlos Lopez, Senior Product Marketing for Smart Cities Americas, here at Itron Inspire. Carlos, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Stephanie. Very nice to be here.
Yeah, why don't you tell me a little bit about your role here at Itron?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Itron, my role is the go-to-market, right? So we take products, we provide solutions, and we roll them either through a direct channel or through an indirect channel, right? So that covers the Americas, Canada, the US, and Latin America.
Okay, great. So we're going to talk a little bit about streetlights. So why are streetlights and why are streetlight management? Why is that important?
Yeah, well, let me give you some information, right? So streetlights are very important because they represent a huge share of a city's budget. It's the second largest expenditure electrically wise in a city, only below the energy from buildings. So if you look at that, they represent between 30 and 40% of that budget. A small increase on that budget actually can break a city. So that's why we are so critical, right? And it's important not only to think of them as an asset for safety, but also as an asset that enables the social life and economic life of the city.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a huge important factor for safety. I mean, I love when they turn on, right? And they're sort of on sensors, right? The smart streetlights.
That's correct. Yeah. So many of them actually use a calendar, and when the light goes down, it turns on, right? But that's just one of the cases. But more interesting is when they don't, because that's when you miss them, right? It's the idea that you don't know which lights are on, which ones are off. Our products actually make lights smart, and they enable the city to know which lights are not working or they're working over time, like during the day. Why would you have lights on the day?
Why would you have them on? Right. It's like when sprinklers are on or when it's raining.
Raining. Makes no sense.
It makes no sense. That's right. So how can streetlights be a tool for carbon reduction?
Well, you remember I told you about the energy, right? So a big share of the energy is being used. Turns out that the reason that cities are converting from traditional infrastructure, which is very analog HPS, sodium, into LEDs is because they get a contribution of around 40% on their savings of the energy. But people don't talk about the other side of the equation. That's what we want to bring attention, is that reduction also means a reduction in the amount of carbon that cities emit. Okay, so to give you an idea what this represents in a city is one of the largest contribution factors for reduction of carbon footprint. And cities are taking notice, like City of Chicago has streetlights and the carbon saving considering streetlights with their footprint plan, right? Philadelphia, another city that has taken this into account. In the case of Philadelphia, they think that 10% of their carbon savings in the municipal budget will be a contribution from streetlights.
Really?
Yes.
That's incredible.
It is incredible. But the second part of that is that streetlights are capable of measuring those emissions. The smarts on every one of those devices actually is measuring the electrical consumption, and our software has the capacity to take the kilowatt hour information of that lamp and then taking the information from the carbon intensity or in other words, the amount of carbon that is generated per kilowatt, getting those things together and giving you a carbon tally.
And is that specific to the street lamp, or is that even tied to vehicles? Or
Beautiful question.
Yeah.
So we, in general, we concentrate on the street lamp operation, right, and the carbon they emit. But other devices attached to the light pole, right? So if you have a 5G cell, or you have a sign, or you have a cafe that is plugging into the streetlight infrastructure, we can measure that and calculate the emissions. What is also very important is that we are connected to the activity of the city. And by having that connection, we actually know what things are going on so we can turn on or off and then plan better and save more.
That's amazing. All right. Very cool. So can you talk to me a little bit more about streetlight essentials?
Of course.
And how is that really helping customers?
Yeah, so I talked about two very large cities, right? And Chicago and Philadelphia are enormous. But this is actually a prevalent problem for cities of all sizes, right? The smaller you are, the more sensitive you are because you don't have the same tax base, right? So to give you an idea why this is so important, smaller cities are trying to fund their projects, but they don't have the funds to actually do it, right? So right now there is a very big effort here in the United States through the IIJA, right? And the carbon reduction program. And that carbon reduction program lists streetlights as one of those assets. But to do that, you both need to be able to save the energy, save the carbon, and measure it. And that's what we provide, right? That platform to both demonstrate that the savings are real and also measure those savings so you can really tally them into your overall plan, right? To obtain the funding or accelerate your carbon footprint or both.
We'll really make that informed decision around moving in this direction, right? And that customer engagement like you talked about.
So Streetlight Essentials is essentially a solution that has taken our big city offer and scale it down so it's accessible for cities and communities of all sizes.
That's great. Not every city is Chicago, like you said. So I come from a small town, so I can see that.
I do too.
There you go. All right. So my last question for you is, what are you most excited about here at Itron Inspire?
I think it's the energy. But literally, right? And it's a powerful thing, right? Because we have done several sessions about this topic, and people stay afterwards, right? And the curiosity and the interest, because I think that we all understand this is not about technology, it's about people, and the contributions that it will have and the impact it will have in the way we live are going to be positive in the long term.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and we'll see you soon.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you.